Have you ever wondered what it would be like to practice dentistry in another country? Maybe just for the sake of interest, or perhaps because you're considering a sea change? Then this podcast series is for you. Listen in while we ask key clinicians from our main dental protection jurisdictions about their practice experience and ponder the unique challenges and opportunities experienced by dental practitioners in their part of the world. Hello, my name's Dr. Annalene Weston, dental legal consultant at Dental Protection, and I'm based in Australia in the Brisbane office. And welcome to What's It Like to Practice as a Dentist in New Zealand. And today I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by Dr. Ellen Clark. Hello, Ellen.
Kia ora, as we say in New Zealand. Thanks, it's great to be here.
I'm really excited that you are here. Thank you. Okay. So, Ellen Clark began her career following graduation from her BDS in Otago in 2008 as the first dental house surgeon in Whangarei Base Hospital, which is in Northland, New Zealand. She'd worked for the Northern District Dental Board for 15 years as a community dentist and was the clinical director from 2015 to 2021. She gained her public health specialist degree from Otago University in 2017 and purchased a private practice in Wangawhai?
Mangawhai, well done.
Yay! Practice in Mangawhai Heads, Northern New Zealand, early in 2019, which she still owns and operates with an absolutely beautiful team as well. Your team are just lovely. So Ellen's the president of the New Zealand School and Community Oral Health Service Society from 2020 to 2022. The president of the New Zealand Society of Hospital Dentistry from 23 to 25, and inducted as a fellow in the International College of Dental Surgeons in 2022. Now, she's the current branch president for the Northland branch of New Zealand Dental Association and elected to be a member of the board in 2020. And she's the current president-elect of NZDA. On top of all of this, Ellen participates in a number of charitable endeavours in and around her community. She lives in Wangawhai, New Zealand with her husband and 2 children and spends her time at the beach and in the garden. And I love that for you.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No, goodness, it was almost too much, but thanks.
I'm sorry about my pronunciations. I'm doing my best. Really... It's oh, thank you. It gets a bit tricky, doesn't it? So yeah, I thought I've got some questions.
In Te Reo Māori. So I might just give a quick introduction of myself in Te Reo Māori, if that's okay with you, which is our native language.
Absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that.
Perfect. So tēnā koutou katoa, ko Ellen Clark, toko ingoa, e noho ana ahau kei Mangawhai e te tai tokoro. So that was just...
And what does that mean?
Saying, hello, everyone, welcome. My name is Ellen Clark, and I live in the north in a small area called Mangawhai in Northland, New Zealand, which is at the very top of the North Island.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I think it's a lovely thing whenever I come to the NZDA conference and people do that, their piece, their proper introduction in Māori. I think it's really beautiful language. Thank you. So,
thanks.
You know, I've got some questions. Yeah, and it's really good. It's really good. So I guess I just wanted to start off with a little bit about you and then talk through your journey into as a dentist in New Zealand and then sort of dentistry in New Zealand at large, because I think there's a lot of people listening who perhaps won't be aware of the differences and they'll be super curious. So starting from the beginning, can you tell us a little bit about your background and why you chose dentistry as opposed to any of the other things you could have done?
For sure. Yeah, no worries. So I came from a very middle-class background in New Zealand. I grew up in the North Shore of Auckland, in an area called Birkenhead, and went to Birkenhead College, which is a decile 5 school. So in New Zealand, we range high schools, which is probably quite important to know if you were coming out to work, from 0 to 10. 10 being the most affluent and 1, being at the least affluent. So I was at a decile 5 high school, a state school, co-ed, and had all my education through there. Following that, I went to Otago University, obviously, but the reason that I chose dentistry was more so because of my orthodontist. Now, back in the 90s, there were no gloves. He didn't wear gloves, which is kind of, I think, a bit taboo. And I had big brackets, so you can see there's a posterior crossbite both sides. But I think I just was so fascinated by the work that he was doing. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. What a cool job. And from about age 10, I really focused in on dentistry and more particularly orthodontics, which I never went on to do. And I was kind of inspired by him, despite, the dental issues that I perhaps still have, but hey, stable occlusion, who cares? Otago University is the only dental school in New Zealand. So I went down there, and unbeknownst to me, the guidance counselor at the high school actually said to my mother, try to convince her not to do dentistry. There's no way she's going to
Really?
get it. Yeah. So mum didn't tell me at the time, thank goodness. But yeah, no healthcare professionals in my family. And yeah, she said basically she won't get in. There's no way, try and convince her not to go. Mum didn't listen, thank goodness. And yeah, she only told me that after I was accepted. And so, yeah. So middle class background, I had to work quite hard. Perhaps the caliber of the teachers wasn't amazing at my school all the way through. Some of them were amazing, but then some not so. But yeah, just had to work quite hard to get in, but loved every minute of it. Yeah.
That's really cool. And then you did your master's, didn't you?
I did in 2017. Yeah. So I went back and specialised in public health and community dentistry while I was working at the hospital, and had a newborn as well. Ran a supervised toothbrushing program in the far north, and wrote my thesis on that as well. So yeah, lots of
That's
work.
cool. And
Looking at it
yeah, but we like to increase the difficulty level, don't we?
sometimes, some of us maybe
And
complicate our
that's your
lives.
passion, of course. The public
Yeah.
health space is your passion, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Although I'm working in private practice as well now, definitely public health is my passion. And in my spare time when I can, I still do work in that area.
That's great. So are you like not 100% private practice then? You still do a little bit of public too?
Yeah, so I contract for a company called Mobile Surgical Services in New Zealand, and they deliver pediatric general anesthetics from a truck and trailer that folds out. It's one of the largest vehicles on the road in New Zealand, and it's a full pre-op surgical unit, operating theatre and recovery. And it basically plugs into a larger hospital area, or a rural hospital, or a larger sort of super clinic, GP clinic, and they can deliver day surgery. So ideally pediatric dental GAs to fit in well young people who have unfortunately got a substantial amount of dental caries, and we can deliver that healthcare to them in remote locations. So yeah, I still contract to that, but I work in private practice. Yeah.
How do they know which locations to go to? Do you rotate, or is like a list, or is it done on need, or how do you know?
Yeah, so the mobile surgical health actually move around New Zealand, and they have a 6-week rotation. So they're in the
That's
far
quick.
north, and then they're shooting down to, South Auckland. They go to Rotorua. They head out to Tairāwhiti and the east coast, all around New Zealand. And the truck actually goes from the top of the north to the bottom of the south in a 6-week rotation. And various clinicians in each area do come on the bus, and it's a great work environment. Everyone is there to help. Everyone is there to work hard, and it's efficient and brilliant. And, obviously I keep my hands in the hospital dentist side of things by working with them.
That's really cool. So it goes
Yeah.
down to the South Island as well. How do they get it across the ditch?
There
It was that
there are
big.
big ferries. Yeah, so it jumps on the ferry,
It's on a
obviously. And
massive ferry. That's really
yeah,
cool. That's
the
really
car ferry that goes across the Cook Strait.
so. One question that we've been asking our guests, just to try and get a feel for their country, is what do you think 3 distinguishing characteristics of working in New Zealand in particular would be? So, what do you think makes New Zealand different or unusual?
So I suppose New Zealand, we're very isolated, obviously, from the rest of the world, both physically and politically, right? So I think the flight here to Sydney is about 3.5 hours. So that's the
Yeah.
closest, to Australia, obviously. That's the closest country we have. So we are more isolated, obviously, than more European countries and North America and so forth. You can't drive across the border. So that makes us unique. We're only a country of just over 5 million. So there are a lot less people paying tax. We have a lot more space. So it means it's good and bad. It means we have more space. It means we don't have as much money for big projects and infrastructure. So some of our roads are a bit haphazard, and our hospitals perhaps are not as big. Because we're a smaller country, we've got less access to specialist care and things like that. But we do okay.
Yeah, you do. I
uh,
love driving in New Zealand. I think it's
yeah,
great fun. I love
absolutely.
driving in the North Island, all those roads that have been sort of where the glaciers formed them. That is such good fun.
Yeah, it's cool. A few potholes here and there, and yeah, if you come over, maybe a four wheel drive is good sometimes. From a dental working point of view in New Zealand, one thing I did want to point out was we do have something that I think is extremely unique compared with the rest of the world, and that's ACC.
I love
So
ACC.
ACC, yeah, it's an unbelievably incredible idea that someone dreamt up way back, I think, in the 80s. What it is it's accident corporation, and what they do is it's like a government subsidized insurance company. Annalene, you may even be able to describe it better than me, but that's the way that I
No,
sort
no,
of
I don't think
we
so.
all pay
You
a little
go.
bit of tax. And ACC is fabulous in that it means we don't have litigation in New Zealand. So we don't have suing, right? So we
Yeah, which is why I love it.
ACC, yeah, absolutely. It has a no blames policy. So because of the no blames policy, it means that if my children are out playing and they've got a friend over, they play on the trampoline, one of the springs breaks and it pings one of the other children's insurance company parents aren't going to sue me for that injury. And the same works in dentistry as well. So if there's a hockey accident or if there's any kind of injury, I actually walked into a ranch slider about a month ago, and I registered my front teeth, even though my teeth scratched the glass. Um, yeah, and my nose because yeah, obviously that sort of accident there's a no blames policy, and it's all covered under ACC. It does mean that you don't get a big payout like you would say in the US. But your care is covered and reasonable costs. So yeah, your wage to get you back on board is covered to about 80%. But yeah, it's a neat, different factor that New Zealand has, and I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that has ACC. So I thought
No,
I'd
it's
just point
brilliant.
one out. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm not aware of that scheme anywhere in the world. So, as the dental protection lady, of course, we love ACC because we love no suing. So, what that means is, for the perspective of a New Zealand dentist, that's a whole lot of stress that they don't have to deal with, that somebody 3.5 hours away in Sydney, for example, does have to deal with, that kind of whole litigation piece. Of course, complaints still arise, but they're predominantly in the regulatory space. So I think that it is, I'm really glad that you raised that because it is very, very unique to New Zealand. So
yeah,
the other thing I wanted to ask that I think people aren't necessarily aware of is, of course, New Zealand has a really, really diverse cultural background, doesn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, we do. We do, absolutely. And we embrace our culture here, I think,
You
extremely
do.
well. We understand that if we do not embrace and look after Te Ao Māori culture, it will be lost. We are the only place in the world with it. It's important. Both of my children are in bilingual kura. Kura is school, the word for school. And so the language is being fostered all the way through. Although I don't have any Māori blood, I still enjoy getting involved in the culture, and we really try and keep it alive. And it's extremely important to us, our whenua, our land, and a lot of the ways that we do things.
Yeah, it's a really special part of your community for sure. And I think it's beautiful it's embraced. So another question then, day to day working life, obviously you're in private practice now. So, what sort of patients are you seeing? What sort of treatments are you doing? Is it very much bread and butter dentistry? Are there any trends that you're seeing? So, people wanting more of something? Is it just a whole load of dealing with the brown stuff? And is that unique? So if you lived, say, in metropolitan Auckland, would it be the same, do you think? So what does dentistry look and feel like as a dentist in New Zealand?
So I live in a small town of about 8,000 population, which I think is considered rural by most standards. And so we have 3 dentists working in our practice and a clinical technician and a couple of OHTs. And we are a real general practice because we are rural. Most people don't want to drive an hour, hour and a half to other areas. So we do the full breadth of practice. So, full clearances and dentures, right through to your crown and bridge, implants, fillings. I would say examinations and fillings would be probably the bread and butter, most of the work that we do. But we still do get surgical aids. I do quite a few surgical aids because of my hospital background, of course. But yeah, an absolute breadth. Now, in metropolitan Auckland, say, or even in Whangarei, you have more access to specialists. So I think the referral options are a little easier. People are happier to go just down the road to have their endo completed or perio treatment. So, and yeah, I would say more rural, you're going to get a wider spread of what you do. And in metro areas, you're going to probably narrow your scope a little bit. But it's up to the individual dentist and obviously what they like to do. I think in terms of trends at the moment, there's been a little bit of a downturn in recession. So some people are opting for the extraction versus endo, and they may be more inclined to have a plate rather than implant dentistry.
Okay, so you're seeing that trend. In Australia, we're seeing this bubble as well, though, of this huge drive for cosmetics, veneers, 20 veneers, and that seems to be really. I blame Instagram, to be perfectly honest with you, but we're seeing this real cosmetic drive as well. Are you seeing that too, or?
A little bit, not quite as much. I do think that New Zealand often follow the trends of overseas. Unfortunately, that is still out there, and yeah, I'm thinking I might need veneers eventually after that ranch slider incident. But
You
yeah,
poor
no, we
thing,
still live around
honestly.
it. We'll get some veneers, but yeah, we haven't really had too much of that yet. We do have a bit of dental tourism that goes on, so people that try to seek care in New Zealand find it's too expensive, and then plan and try to head overseas. Unfortunately, so sometimes it works out for them, and other times you see some real disasters. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the same issue because, of course, the countries that are close to us are close to you. So we see the same issues. And some of the dentistry is great and some of the dentistry isn't. Some of it's just heartbreaking. But I can understand why people do it because for the price of whatever their treatment plan is, they can spend a quarter of that and get a holiday thrown in as well. And, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Right up until it doesn't make sense.
Yes, absolutely. It is
Yeah,
an
it's a
appealing option,
shame.
unfortunately. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, how are New Zealand patients approaching their oral and dental care? Is it a very much a we all go for regular checkup and cleans culture, or is that just a finite group and people tend to go for urgent and emergent care only?
Yeah, so in New Zealand, we have a real split. Our last oral health survey was a long time ago, nearly 20 years. But we know
Really?
that 50, yeah, the major oral health survey was back in the early 2000s. We know that 50% of New Zealanders, adults that is, go for regular checkups, and 50% are periodic, episodic attenders. Yeah. In New Zealand, dental care is free until you're 18. When I say free, I mean government subsidised at a very low rate for the dentist.
Yeah. That's quite unusual too, though. Some places do have schemes, but not for all children and certainly not up until they're 18. So I think that's quite a lovely thing about New Zealand. But then I sometimes wonder what happens when they turn 18.
Yes, absolutely. So various governments have talked about extending that, which would be wonderful, but not under this current pay schedule. If you're a dentist working in New Zealand, you need that sometimes this pay schedule is just not kept up with inflation and the amount it actually costs to do real life dentistry. We have the 0 to 18 that's covered, And then as soon as you're 18, you're on your own, unfortunately. And so many adult New Zealanders do begrudge having to spend money on dentistry because all other
Yeah.
health is more or less funded. And it makes kind of little sense, doesn't it, to someone that, say, has diabetes? Everything is covered right the way through. You know, they get really unwell, they lose a leg, the amputation is covered, the prosthesis is covered, the recovery is covered. Whereas with a dental issue, you get perio, the tooth is taken out, there's none of it is covered. From the extraction right through to the prosthesis.
Yeah.
We do have a bit of an issue, and we certainly have a group of people, sort of low to middle class, who do unfortunately end up missing out. There are social services that will help pay for. So we have Ministry of Social Development who do give grants, and they'll give about $1,000 worth of dentistry for per person per year if you qualify. But of course, if you do not qualify and you're low income, then there's a gap. There's a gap, and that's where unfortunately we see most of our vulnerable, patients who suffer and end up in hospitals with failings and so forth. Hospital dentistry
Yeah.
is covered, but it's very limited, and it varies from region to region as well with what specialist services are available.
Yeah. No, I often wonder, I think that it's good that there's schemes that catch the most vulnerable, but then there's that group who are just out of that. So, for example, taking time off, I might not get paid leave to take time off for whatever reason. So, taking time off to come to the dentist, that's a double cost for me, right? Because I've got to pay for it and I'm not getting paid. And that might be just enough that I would actually drop into that group. But because of where I sit on whatever measure they're using, I don't meet the requirements. Do you know what I mean? I think there's always that group just above the group who actually probably need a bit of help as well. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Ellen.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's been really interesting about these discussions is all our problems are really different, but also they're also quite similar. Like, I think one of the things I've been a bit taken aback with is how we're all still dealing with quite a lot of caries. We're all
Oh,
still dealing
absolutely.
with caries. It hasn't gone away.
It hasn't gone away, and for a chronic illness that's almost entirely preventable, it's just unbelievable. In New Zealand, about 50% of our regions, just over maybe, are now fluoridated. You would think that we could, get there with it, but because New Zealand is geographically sparse as well, in some rural communities, such as even Mangawhai here, we are not on reticulated water supply. So
Yeah.
community
Oh, really?
even an option here. Yeah, no, we've got 2 big tanks out the back here, even in Mangawhai. Yeah, yeah. So
Wow. Okay.
put us on the roof, and that's what we use. Yeah, we've only
Lucky
just
you
had a
get plenty of rain.
yeah, yeah, well, it's overflowing for January, it's unusual. Um, yeah,
Oh, is it?
so
Is it not your wet season?
no, it's not our wet season. No, we're supposed to be having barbecues at the beach and having sunny weather, January,
Sorry
February, and
about that.
no, that's okay. Sometimes we get the odd cyclone that rolls through, and I think we've received
Yeah.
this one from Queensland, actually. I think
Yeah.
it's
You're
secondhand.
welcome. I was
Yeah.
going to say, when you said you had a storm, I did think, oh, sorry about that. Because about
Oh,
3 or 4 days ago, you could see those clouds in Brisbane. And so the cyclone hit north of us and quite a bit north of us, actually. But you could see those clouds whipping around and it's like a circular gusting wind and it's that tail of the cyclone coming around. So yeah, sorry
yeah,
about that.
that's okay. I
We're
won't
heading
hold you
into our
personally
wet.
responsible for it.
No, we're heading into our wet. One thing we get in Brisbane is a lot of rain. And I think it surprises people because they think of Australia as being a desert. And of course, Australia is huge and big parts of it are desert.
Yeah.
Queensland's just not one of those parts, or certainly where I live in Queensland, coastal Queensland's not one of those parts. So, bit of a different question now, because obviously one thing that we've been talking about is it's like people wanting to come and live in New Zealand. And I know that when I talk to colleagues overseas, lots of them want to come and live in New Zealand and practice in New Zealand. And I love New Zealand. It's if I didn't live in Brisbane, top of my list, my friend. It's a beautiful place,
Fantastic.
beautiful
We'll have you.
people.
We'll have you. Yeah.
So when we're sort of talking about, so you have one dental school at the moment, or do you have one in Auckland now?
So we've got Otago Dental School, where you have to do your first, second, third, fourth year. And then
Hmm.
we have a smaller school up in Auckland where the fifth year class is split into. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so half
So
stay in.
just final year up in Auckland. So they don't house any of the first, second, third,
Yeah,
fourth
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And how many students are you turning out? How many graduates are you turning out a year? It's about 90, isn't it?
Yeah, just under 90. But in
Okay.
terms of domestic students, it's a lot lower than that. So it's only sort of 55, 60. And then we have international students that come over and there are about 30 places for them. Yeah, so it's very few. And in fact, it hasn't changed since the 1980s. So we are churning through this exact same number. The domestic student placement, although we have a new dental school, it's more to do with the government funding of domestic student places.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's our sticking point. But the NZDA are definitely advocating and working on that at the moment because that number desperately needs to increase. We've gone from a population of 3 million to just over 5 million, and it just makes no sense. We do rely on international dentists coming in,
you do.
and there are reasonably rigorous compliance sort of pathways. But yeah, I'm no expert from the Dental Council on that, and I know things that are being reviewed at the moment as they are in Australia, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, we're going through a huge review at the moment, which has caused some consternation on the social media. Let me tell you, I do love a bit of social media. Just sometimes it's just fun to watch. So, okay, so I'm a dentist. I want to come to New Zealand. I'm going to register with the Dental Council if I'm applicable and all those things. I understand that it's going to be essentially general dentistry, the same sort of dentistry I'm doing. So there's no like nothing weird or wonderful I need to know there. What about things like my CPD? What are my CPD requirements?
Sure. So in New Zealand, about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a big change, and we no longer have to collect CPD points, so a certain number of hours in a cycle. And so now it's changed, and we have to write a professional development plan with professional development activities. And number of complaints have gone up quite significantly in the last 4 years, and whether that's why, I'm not sure. But
So do you think because people aren't doing the courses and having that community contact, they're being more isolated, perhaps?
points
Yeah.
uh, don't have to be verified, right? So you can watch YouTube and then write that down as your professional development task, and then you just have to write a reflection on that. And the Dental Council doesn't ask for that specifically written down. They just ask whether you've done it or not. So your
Okay.
only time when it's being checked is if you're audited. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it's happening, but it's just different in that you don't have to register points, and it's not a system like that. I think we as dentists really love to have a specific number of points and type it into the computer. So yeah, so that's been a real challenge for a lot of practitioners, I think. And a lot of the younger practitioners have come out and kind of written their PDPs and sort of been a bit like, oh, well, how much do we have to do? How little do we have to do? And there's sort of no definite guidelines around that. And the reflection. So no, there aren't a certain number of CPD hours. And we have noticed too that there's less attendance in conferences and courses as well.
That's a shame because one thing that I love about New Zealand and I love about your community is, as you know, I am a regular at the New Zealand Dental Association conference. I've strutted that stage a few times over the years. It's my favorite conference in the world. And I always say this, and it's because the sense of community that you guys have is extraordinary. And what I love is because people recognize me now after all these years, I get invited to some of the coolest places like, hey, Annalene, what are you doing? Come to the class of 88 reunion. And I'm like, sure, sounds amazing. But it's that real sense of community. And even, what did we have? That trivia night that we had last year.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And the things that you guys do to bring each other together. So it's a real shame that, because I think it's one of the things that's really beautiful about practicing in New Zealand. Certainly, as someone from the outside looking in, you are a small enough community that you do seem very connected in a positive way.
Absolutely. And I think we have small branches of the New Zealand Dental Association scattered all over the country. Obviously, a great way to meet other dentists in your area, colleagues, talk about problematic patients or cases, and just share your knowledge. And I think that's a real benefit to mental health and well-being, as well as your practicing.
Absolutely.
It's almost a must. And because we don't have those CPD hours that we used to get at those branch meetings, the attendance rate is not quite as high. And some of the smaller branches in New Zealand are really struggling. So it is really affecting things. And hey, and that too, because if you've got dentists who haven't, upskilled quite as much and aren't staying up to date, it's going to affect the public eventually, isn't it? And it's going to result in more complaints.
We have noticed, I think I told you this before, like we're affectionately in Australia calling it the COVID hangover. So we talk about there's different reasons why people complain. And most of the time it's because something's gone wrong, whether that be a communication issue or a treatment issue, but everything hasn't gone entirely to plan. But it's fascinating because there's a group of patients who suffer with something called a perceived injurious experience, or a pie, right? Not a good pie, not a cherry pie, a perceived injurious experience. And these are patients who, despite all objective measures to the contrary, genuinely believe that something's gone wrong in their care. And they become really vociferous, really vocal complainers. And we have noticed in Australia a trend of these patients where, despite all objective measures to the contrary, they believe that something's gone wrong. They believe that they've been harmed, and they are coming for you. And we've never seen them at this level. They've always existed, or it wouldn't have a name, but we don't know if it's a cost of living issue. We don't know if it's because obviously you only have this much discretionary income, right? And dentistry is expensive. So you pay money for it and it fails. You're not as forgiving as you would have been if you had like economic security or
Right.
stability. Absolutely makes sense, but we're not even sure if it is that, or if it's just a change in perspective, but it's interesting to know that's happening for you guys as well. I'm going to reflect on that.
Yes, the Dental Council have slapped on another extra disciplinary levy, which is a real shame to all practitioners. Yeah, across the
Oh, you
board.
have to pay more because of all your complaints.
We have to pay more because of sorting
Yeah,
out
we have that
complaints.
too.
Yeah, so it comes back on us as well, which is a shame.
That's such a blessing. Yeah, it's tough. We have something similar, that our ARPA registration fees, which of course are set on how much work ARPA have to do, it's something that people can be quite vocal about. Now, speaking about ARPRA have been going through, so that's the Australian Health Practitioners Regulation Agency. They've been really focused on practitioner wellbeing recently, which I think is a really positive thing and absolutely needed to happen. I really feel that you guys led the way with that. You had a beautiful document. I reckon it's even as old as 2017 or 2018, where you really started to address those well-being issues for practitioners. And again, at your conference, there is always some discussion about well-being. You often open with a well-being presentation. So I think it's amazing and forward thinking that you do that. Is it also, however, because that's an issue in New Zealand, or are you just addressing it so it doesn't become one, do you think?
We know that practitioner wellbeing is an issue. And it's quite interesting. I mean, we spoke about metro versus rural areas before. Our geographic distribution of dentists is not ideal. We have more in, say, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch. We need more in the regions. Regional dentists suffer from burnout.
Yeah.
Metro dentists suffer from not having necessarily full books. And different stresses. So it's a tricky one to tackle because everyone in the regions is crying out, we need more dentists, send more, please. We haven't had a holiday. And then the metro ones are saying, we've got enough dentists. So it's a real two-edged sword there in terms of, obviously wanting more dentists and so on. Sorry, I got off the question a little bit there, didn't I? We have evaluated mental wellbeing, and we have had several surveys over the past few years just to make
You
sure. And
have.
this is the New Zealand Dental Association that's done all this work and thrown huge amounts of money into it, and had sponsors too from, I think Maz has been a huge sponsor all the way through.
Huge. Yeah. They've
Yeah,
been brilliant.
yes, they have. They really are. And so we've had evaluations, and it just shows that things aren't changing really. Slight improvement in some areas, but overall, well-being is okay, but particularly post-COVID, things were tough for everyone, I think.
They really were. And the one positive thing I will say, though, Ellen, is at least we're all talking about it now. I think that we might not have the answers yet, but I think it's at least it's not a taboo subject anymore, which I think it was for such a long time. It was such a shame. So, other challenges that New Zealand dentists, so that disparity, I think it's interesting. It seems to be a conversation I'm having with everyone. Everyone wants to live in the cities, and the regional areas are crying out for practitioners. And also, we're in a cost of living crisis. You guys are as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are,
So,
absolutely. When there's a cost of living crisis, it goes on the back burner, doesn't it?
and you can understand why. At the end of the day, feed my children,
Yeah.
toothache's
Oh,
not
for
that
sure. I
bad,
had to
right?
go to the hygienist. Yeah, exactly.
So, access to care in regional areas in New Zealand, you've talked about this amazing bus. And I'm not going to lie, next time I know I'm coming, I'm going to give you a call because I would love to come over and have a look at this machine because it sounds like the most exciting thing I've ever seen. So I want to come and have a look at it because I've got so many questions. My questions about anesthetic gases alone, right? I'm just fascinated to see how this is all
Well,
managed. So I'm
we
just
have an
inviting
anaesthetist
myself
sector
to,
for that. Anaesthetists are there. So I may not be an expert on the
but
gas. Yeah.
no, but I wanted to, I've just got so many questions, but I want to
Yeah,
come and have a look if that's okay. Do you
absolutely.
think that that is an answer or the answer to improving access to care in rural areas? Or do you think you just need more dentists? It sounds like you might need to be turning out a few more domestic graduates. Or do you need more people to pop up clinics and mobile clinics? The answer, like, what do you think? Is it a mixture of all of them? What do you think, Helen?
I think in terms of care, yes, it's a mixture of all of them, but
Yeah.
obviously we want to prevent it before it's there,
Yeah.
right? So we need to really go way upstream with the fluoridation. Supervised toothbrushing in schools, I think, should be mandatory across the country. But that's my little, my little thing.
No, I
Uh,
think it's great.
we don't want to be having to treat caries. We don't want to be putting 3-year-olds to sleep and doing, 6
It's
extractions on them.
awful.
I don't want to be
No.
placing, 6 stainless steel crowns on, 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds under general anesthetic. Definitely, I think you're right. I think that more clinicians in rural areas would be a massive help. Um, I also think, as with most governments, the school dental service or community oral health service, they have a lot of vacancies, right? So for oral health therapists, it'd be ideal if we
Really?
had therapists getting in earlier. Obviously, if they could go back to seeing children every 6 months rather than the arrears which they currently face, seeing kids, some kids every 2 or 3 years. There are a huge number of things that could improve oral health in New Zealand and access to care, definitely. And you've listed off beautifully quite a few of them that we've spoken about. Yeah. Mm.
Now, one thing that I was hoping you would talk to us a little bit about, because I'm completely in love with it, is the NZDA roadmap. So I was privileged to be invited to the inception of this in 2023, I think, and then to come again in 2025 for the launch of this roadmap. Tell me about it, or tell our listeners about it. Yeah, she got it. And I love the branding too. Orange and purple is
It's beautiful,
fabulous.
isn't it? It's a really beautiful document. So this is the short summary version as well. But we've got, basically, this is a oral health document that the New Zealand Dental Association have funded and written. And it goes through all of the main issues, and it basically has our stance on all of them. So
Yeah, on
I'm
everything.
hoping it's not back to front, but it's a beautiful document, and it basically gives the current state of everything, and then what we recommend and what is needed: community water fluoridation, sugary drinks, toothpastes, universal healthcare, child and adolescent services, and everything. We are hoping, because obviously it talks about workforce as well, we are hoping that a political party, we can turn this into a policy document. We can come up with some solutions from this. And then what we want is, we'd love more political parties to listen and spend more on oral health, obviously, and improve oral health for all New Zealanders. So it looks at every single different aspect. It's a wonderful document. A lot of hard work. Robin Wyman, and he is a very clever man.
Oh, yeah, he was extraordinary. We talk about there are words that are often bandied around, like inspirational or aspirational. I know it sounds trite, but honestly, this document is inspirational and aspirational. It's a big it's a big call to action. But I really love the way that it's been approached. I love the work that NZDA going around all the communities to get a sense for what was hitting a note, what wasn't hitting a note, the stakeholder engagement that they got. And I really wish I wish you all the best for this. And I'm so excited to see where this roadmap goes in the future.
It's exciting. And we're coming into an election year, so let's hope it's picked up. Yeah.
So, my darling, what do you love the most about being a dentist in New Zealand, do you think?
I think the work-life balance that I have.
Okay.
I am particularly lucky in that I can work clinically 3 days a week in my private practice job. I do some other work for NZDA and obviously mobile health, and I like to go and I actually volunteer at a prison in the mid-north as well. They've got no clinicians up there at the moment, and so I pop up there and do some work from time to time. But the work-life balance, it means I can drop my children to school every morning and then go to work. I don't sit in a traffic jam because I do live rurally, which is wonderful. I have a beach that's 2 minutes away. I have my gardens, which I love as well. You can see some flowers from my garden in the background. And my plants outside. Just an amazing work-life balance. And I think, like, obviously with your mental health, I love walking as well. And here I can think of about 6 different walking tracks that I have within about a 5-minute drive. And that connects me with nature. And actually, I think it's good for my mental health and good for my family's mental health and everyone. So it's the work-life balance, being able to work part-time and still earn enough to be able to have a comfortable lifestyle. Definitely.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a great answer. Thank you. So, to any overseas dentists who are listening, overseas trained dentists, and they're thinking, you know what? I might give that land of the long white cloud a crack. What would your advice be to them?
Yeah. So if you're coming to New Zealand, consider a rural area and community.
For sure.
Definitely need more dentists in those areas. Your books will be fuller. Working in a small community, I did commute to Whangarei Hospital, obviously, for 15 years, which is an hour's drive away. Working in a small community is cool. We go down to the local school and give out toothbrushes. I mean, there are some downsides. Maybe when I'm in the supermarket, I have to do a few little quick consults or how you're going, and you see patients everywhere. But you really connect with the community. And small communities in New Zealand remember and appreciate anything you give back into the community. And they're extremely loyal, extremely loyal. So I'm really lucky on that. The other advice I would definitely give is please join your NZDA branch. That's the first thing you should sign up for. Being connected with your peers in an area is so important. And also NZDA have all of these wonderful mentorship programs and all sorts. It's a full package. So there are now groups that are set up. So you'll meet others who are trying to get registered and are currently going through that process. And there'll be also someone there that has been through it all and can help and guide. But the main thing is to be really connected to the others. I mean, I try and encourage everyone to come along to our small branch in Northland and catch up and chat, because dentistry can be extremely isolating and extremely self-limiting and lonely, right? Especially in a small area. So please get involved, say yes, come along, be brave, send some emails and just get along and get into all of the things that NZDA offer, for sure.
No, it's great. And it's funny, again, last year when I was at the conference, I was actually really quite touched to see that there was a social event organized for the international dental graduates with them in mind to make sure that they all knew each other, they connected. Because as somebody who is an international dental graduate, you have some different challenges and problems because you didn't go through dental school, so you with them, so you don't have those core friendships and relationships, and it does take a little bit of time to build them. But if you don't show up, you're not going to build them. But someone is offering you this opportunity to meet people who are having exactly the same issues as you, but also to have people who can tell you where's good to send my kids to school, even what brand of butter should I get, because I
Absolutely.
don't recognize any of these labels. I remember the first time I went to the supermarket in Australia, it was hilarious. I was in there for hours because I was picking everything up, didn't recognize a thing. And I'm from an English speaking country, man. And I was having to read the back. Is this actually what I think it is? I'm so confused. And in the end, some lady came up and she was like, do you need help? I was like, yeah, I really do. I really do need some help.
Oh, hey, it can be
Because I've just been
overwhelming
there
and
for so long.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And we all have bad days, don't we? And we can't all be perfect. And I think the more
Nor
people,
should we be.
good clinicians you have around you, who you can lean on and who are understanding, the better things will be.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So, one last question for you, then, my darling. There'll be people who are listening to this who are perhaps aspiring dentists or they're recent graduates. And because we do find a lot of recent graduates engage with this podcast because they're really thirsty for all the advice that they can get. What advice would you give to them?
Um, just use NZDA. That's what we're there for. Join NZDA. Don't be too proud or scared to ask for help. We're a small country. Yes, we also someone knows someone in each area, so definitely, yeah, don't be too proud to ask for help, and yeah, join up and yeah,
Be a
enjoy.
joiner.
Be a joiner.
Brilliant.
Say
That's so
yes.
wonderful.
Say yes. Absolutely.
That No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ellen. I am so grateful for your time because I know that you're busy and I just really appreciate you making time for this. And I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Ngā mihi nui.
Thank you. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I do hope that this was as helpful and informative for you as it certainly was for me. So if you like Dental Protection Podcasts and you'd like to hear more, please subscribe and leave a review.